There are a lot of ways to sit on a motorcycle, and you may be wondering, well, sitting on a motorcycle is not a big deal. You can sit anyhow that you want and it's gonna be fine. Well, it's not gonna be fine. So the way you sit on a motorcycle decides how long it's gonna take for you to get tired. It decides how enjoyable your ride is gonna be, and it's also gonna decide how safe your ride is gonna be. So you can't just sit anyhow on a motorcycle. There is a proper method that you need to follow. There are some principles, and those principles they're gonna apply to all the motorcycles, not just Himalayan 450, but I got the Himalayan 450 with me, so I'm gonna show it to you on this motorcycle. Well, let's start with the tank first. So I've seen a lot of riders when they sit on a motorcycle, they either sit too close to the tank or they sit too further back from the tank, and both of these positions, they have their own separate issues. So when you sit so close to the tank, there is no room for your groin to breathe. There is no room for your balls to, let the air pass through, and it's just gonna sweat you out real bad. It's gonna hurt your balls, crush your balls real bad, and if you're not a male, it's just not gonna be comfortable because there is no room, there is no space between you and the motorcycle. On the other hand, when you sit further behind the tank, it increases the distance from you and the handlebar, and you would have to try to reach for the handlebar as compared to your hands naturally falling on the handlebar. And when you do that, your elbows get locked out and your handling gets affected. So sitting further behind and sitting way too close, both of these are wrong positions. And the right way to sit on a motorcycle is by having at least 4 to 6 inches of gap between you and the tank. So when you sit on the tank, make sure that your groin is at a place where you can at least fit one fist in between you and the tank. And that's the right position, that's the right placement for your hip, because at this position your bumps, they have enough cushion underneath, and you have enough space for your knees to lock onto the tank and your inner thighs to lock onto the tank. And yes, you need to squeeze the tank, you need to squeeze the motorcycle with your legs. So anything below your waist is used to grip onto the motorcycle, and anything above your waist is used to maneuver the motorcycle. So when you do that, you would feel the difference. When you squeeze the motorcycle with your inner thighs and your knees, and when you sit on the motorcycle with 4 inches gap from the tank, and when you have your ankles also locking the motorcycle, yes, it's gonna take a little bit of your strength, your core strength, and when you practice it over time, it's gonna feel better. Initially, it may feel like it's a lot of work and it may feel a little uncomfortable, but when you're gonna get used to it, you would be able to enjoy your motorcycle a lot more. So your hands should be placed on the handlebar in a horizontal position. They should not be vertical to the handlebar. They should not be going down to the handlebar. They should be horizontal, because in that position, your hands are loose. You're not gripping onto the handlebar way too tight, and you would be able to steer your motorcycle a lot more effectively. When you think about it, the handle of a motorcycle is a straight bar, and when you steer, you are moving that handle either left or right. You're never moving the handle up or down, and that's why your elbows and your wrist should be horizontal to the handlebar, and you should not have your arms at an angle to the handlebar. They should be horizontal to the handle and parallel to the ground. Alright, so let's talk about the placement of your feet on the foot peg. So the best way to place your feet on the foot peg is with your toe resting on the foot peg and your ankle gripping the motorcycle. And I've seen some riders, they ride the motorcycle with their feet dangling downwards and their knees wide open, and that is just so risky. Let's say you have some rocks on the ground, let's say you hit some sticks on the road, all those sticks and the rocks and the potholes, they get thrown right at your feet from your front tire, and it's so risky if you're not wearing proper gear, because chances are you are not wearing proper gear if you're riding your motorcycle like that. If you have proper gear, you would have some sort of knowledge how to ride the motorcycle. Well, that I'm just assuming, so I could be wrong. But all I'm saying is, when you have your feet dangling down, chances are high that you would end up hurting your feet. When you have your toes on the foot pegs, you are basically securing your feet, you are allowing your feet a chance to grip onto the motorcycle more firmly. And we middle class people, we do not have enough money to spend onto the gears, right? That's right. And that's why we may not have the proper riding shoes either. And when you do not have the proper riding shoes, and when you're wearing your casual shoes, or let's say you're going to a party, you can't wear the proper shoes. When you wear the shoes with the shoelace, chances are high that those shoelaces are gonna get stuck into the gear lever or the rear brake lever, and when they get entangled into the levers, you can't place your foot on the ground, and if you come to a stop and if you have to park your motorcycle, you would just fall. And that's why proper shoes. And if you're not wearing the proper shoes, make sure that the shoelaces are tucked inside the shoes properly so that you are safe when you're riding the motorcycle. Alright, so now let's talk about the spine. So all the things that I just explained to you right now about forming the motor, about gripping the motorcycle with the lower half of your body and maneuvering the motorcycle with the upper half of the body, if you do that properly, chances are high that you would be sitting straight with a straight spine at a 90-degree angle. And if you're not, then you would have to constantly remind you to sit straight if you're going on a long ride, because it's a nice habit. Not just on the motorcycle, even when you're working on your computer, even when you're sitting, studying, or doing whatever, you should always sit straight. It's gonna allow the organs inside your body to breathe properly, your digestive system and everything. And more than that, your bum. It's gonna take a lot longer for your bum to get tired when you're sitting on the motorcycle with a straight spine. So these were a couple of tips and tricks that I wanted to share with you guys about the riding position on Himalayan 450, and I hope they were helpful. If you would like to know how many fingers you should be using on the brake lever, how many fingers you should be using on the clutch lever, do watch this video that I have on my YouTube channel. I went into the details of what's the best practice to follow when you're riding in the traffic, or when you're riding on the Indian roads, and how many fingers you should have on your handlebar and everything. So do watch this video, you would find it helpful. Alrighty people, so that's it for today, and I would go accelerate a little bit now. Let's do it.